Hi everyone. In today's challenge, we are going to solve this problem. The problem name is strange printer and the problem number is 664. Alright guys, so first of all, we are going to clearly understand the problem statement. After understanding the problem statement, then only we will move to the logic part. And in the logic part, we are going to see how we can solve this problem. What is the logic we are going to use to solve this problem? So after understanding the logic part, then only we will move to the implementation part. And in the implementation part, we are going to implement our logic in Python, C++, Java, and JavaScript programming language. Fine guys, and guys, if you want to have a look on the solution, which I'm going to write in this video for Python, C++, Java and JavaScript, I will share the link in the description. You can go through that particular link and you can find all the solution, right? Now guys, let's see what this problem says. So let's understand the problem statement. So problem says there is a strange printer with the following two special properties. So there is a one printer first of all, and it has two properties, right? So let's see what are the properties printer has. So the first property is nothing but guys, the printer can only print a sequence of same character at each time. So this means nothing but we can say the printer can only print a sequence, right? It can print a sequence, means not depend only on fixed character. It can print a sequence of n length, right? But of a same character. So let's understand it here. So let's say printer want to print, we have a character A, right? So we have A character. So it can print A single A. This is sequence of length 1. It can print A. This is sequence of length 2. This can print sequence of A. This is sequence of length 5, right? So this means nothing but the printer can print a sequence, right? But the character should be same. It makes sense, right? So here character you can see A is only right there. It can print A, 5 time A, anytime A, right? So this can print any sequence of a same character, right? The second condition is nothing but at each turn, the printer can print new character starting from and ending at any place will cover the original existing character. So nothing but this means nothing but we can say at each turn means there are going to be turns, right? So the next turn what it can do, it can print a new character as well between of this current our existing string, or it can append a new character after this string. So let me show you how. So let's say we have this character initially, right? This printer has printed. Now in the next turn, printer can turn A into B as well. So it has override our existing string, right? Or what it can do, let me undo it. Just remove this one. All right, so earlier it was this, right? So now after that what it can do, it can say it can append B after this one, right? So it means that it taking a one turn to add a B, means to add a new character it is taking a one character one turn, right? So this means nothing but simple the second point. This is the second property. At each turn the printer can print a new character as well in the existing string or after the ending of that particular string. That makes sense, right? I hope it makes sense. Fine. And after that, given a string has written the minimum number of turns the printer needed to print it. So now the main thing is that we are given one string, that is yes, right? So we are given one string and we have to tell how many turns printer needed to print that particular string, right? So let's right here. Our S is nothing but in the first example, we have 5 time A, not 5 time A, 3 time A, 3 time B, right? Now we need to find out how many turns printer needed to print this particular string, right? So here we can simply say the first property is the printer can only print a sequence of same character each time. So printer printed triple A, this sequence of A character only, right? A is only including this string, right? So we can say this took only one turn, right? And we found this much string. Now we want triple B at after this A, right? So we can also use the same property first. The printer can print same character each time, right? So we want printer now print B 3 times. So this is nothing but we can say this one, right? It printed this also in one turn. So to combine two term is nothing but two turn, right? You can see in the explanation part as well. Print A first, 3 time A, then print B first, triple 3 time B, right? After that. So that means nothing but printer need two turns to print this particular string. So we can return answer 2, right? So this is the optimal one, right? We need to find a return minimum number of terms. If you want to take not optimal, then it may take a 6 character, right? Print A, then print A, then print A, then print B, print B, print B, right? So it is not the optimal one. We need to find minimum number of turn a printer needed, right? So now let's see the second example. You will have a better understanding over there. So there is one case which is going to include in this second example. We have ABA string, right? And we want how many turns printer needed to print this particular string. So what we can do guys here, we can say if you are going to go with the brute force approach means like a brute force thinking. So here it's going to take first of all a character which took one turn, right? The next is different, right? So that's why it took only one length of sequence of a character and it took one turn. Then it's going to print a B, so which is also going to take a one turn. So we can append here B, right? So it took now two turn. Then it's going to take up again A, which took one turn and it's going to append here. So total turn is nothing but 3. But if you see here output is 2, means the printer able to print this particular string in just two turn. And how it is possible? So if you break down into another way, so this string I'm breaking out here. So this ABA can also be written like this, right? So I told you that in the first property says it can print a sequence of same character, right? N lengths of sequence. So it printed triple A. Only one turn needed to print this one, right? Now we just need a B, right? And this is the second property. At each turn, printer can print a new character starting from and ending at any place. So I can say printer can print B here, overwrite here, right? I hope it makes sense, right? So it also took one turn, which by using a second properties. So total turn is nothing but 2, and we got our final string. So we can say answer written is 2. So this is nothing but a simple problem statement. I know you understood this particular case as well. So this is the main edge cases which we need to use in our implementation part as well, right? So fine guys, I hope you understood the problem statement. So just problem says that we are given one string and we need to find how many turns a printer needed to print that particular string, right? And we have two properties of printer. The printer can print a sequence of same character and length of sequence. Second is printer can print a new character from in override, also overwriting our existing string or append in our existing string, right? Fine. Now let's see what this. Let's see how we can solve this problem. So let's understand the logic part. Fine. So in the logic part, what we are going to do? So we have this string, right? So let's assume here only. So first of all, let me tell you, this is a recursion part only. Recursion, or we can say DP, right? Dynamic programming. And we are not going to use a recursion here, but just I'm telling you, if you have a time, just try to solve it by recursion. No matter take a TLE error, but try to solve it by recursion, right? Then you can try to memorize it, and maybe you can solve it with a recursion only, right? By memorizing it. But here we are going to use a top-down approach, bottom-up approach, right? Means we are going to use a tabulation method, right? Fine, and that is nothing we can say dynamic programming, right? So now how we can solve this problem? Let's see that part. So I have this string triple A and triple B. So I'm going to solve with a tabulation approach, and this is going to be really easy, guys. So you have to focus over here just for next 5 or I would say 7 minutes. After that, you will have a better understanding. You can solve in any other programming language as well, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say I'm going to create a table here, right? So this is, you can see first of all this has 6 character, right? So we are going to create a table. So let's create a table here. Hopefully we have, right? So this is nothing but 5 character and this is nothing but 6 character, right? So it got here, right? So let me just give me a minute, guys. I have to stable it. So we have this correct table. Fine. So we got our table, right? Now what we are going to do, we are going to say this is nothing but 0 index, 1 index, second index, third index, fourth, fifth. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I hope it makes sense. So now at each index we are placing our character as well. So 0 index we have A. So I'm going to say fine. So let's write here. This is also A, this is also A, this is B, this is B, this is B. And here also A. We have a less space here, right? Don't worry, we are going to do it. So fine. So we have put our characters on the each index. Now guys, we have created this matrix. So you can create in any other any programming language, you can create this array, 2D array, and I give it a name is DP, right? So I say DP is nothing but having a matrix of 6 of 6, right? I hope it makes sense. Fine. Now what we are going to do here, guys, we are going to say if you want to print a single character, how much turn it needed? Just tell me. So we needed only one turn, right? So we can say put 1 over here. It makes sense, right? Fine. Now what we are going to do, we are going to say first of all let's understand this matrix. So what is this matrix? So first of all let's understand what this says, right? This particular thing. So this particular index is nothing but we can say dp of, well, let me take a different color, this is not looking well. Fine. So dp of, we can say 1 of 3, right? So we have this character dp of 1 comma 3, 1 of 3, right? So that means nothing but what this index represent, this particular space, what this space represent. You're seeing my cursor, right? So this particular space, this particular cell, what does this represent? So this represent 1 3, means index 1 to index 3. So index 1 is nothing but we can say this, we have this character, right? Triple A, triple B. So index 1 is nothing but this one until this one, right? This triple double A and B, right? So we can say 1 2 3 is nothing but A and B. So this cell represent that, this cell represent that uh, the number of turns needed for a printer for a particular this substring, double A and B, right? So double A and B, you can see 1 is nothing but this one. So A and B, right? And same if you will focus over this cell. So this is nothing but 2 to 5. 2 to 5 is nothing but we can say A. We can say A. Let me write here only A. Then we can say B, B, B. So this is nothing but this particular substring. So it will tell us that how many turn needed for this particular A triple B, right? So we have this particular substring, right? But if you focus here on the this part, on this part, so there is no fuse, right? There is no meaning, right? If you will say 3 of 0, so that makes sense. So we can go from 3 to 0. No, we can't go, right? 0 to 3 we have already covered over here, but 3 to 0 doesn't make sense, right? So we can say there's no use of it. So we can just simply put 1 1 because, but 1 1 also just because to take a benefit from the lower part, but we'll not use it, right? So we have put a 1 1 over here, and we can put 1 1 on each particular matrix as well, right? But for now I just want to tell you that there is no role of this particular side, but they will play a role to calculate this one, right? So we'll see how we can do that part as well, but there is no currently role of left side. I hope this makes sense, right? Now guys, this we have seen already the structure for matrix. Now let's see how we can calculate this one, right? So first of all, what we need at the end, which cell we need at the end to return? First of all, tell me, we need the total number of turns needed for whole substring, which is nothing but 0 to n minus 1. So we need 0 o n minus 1 is nothing but 5, right? So n is equal, we need this particular cell. So this is nothing but this cell, 0 or 5. So we need to return this particular part after calculating the matrix. I hope it makes sense. So at then we are clear with the what we are going to return. Now just we need to see how we can fill this matrix, right? So we can fill a simple method, guys. So let me remove all these things. We can fill a very easy method. We're just going to traverse it, right? So what I'm going to say for each cell. So if I'm here, guys, if I'm here and I'm 1 comma 1 of 3, right? So what I can say, I need to find a substring between this much, right? A and B, right? So how we can do this part? So A B is nothing but simple. We can break down to two parts, A comma AB, or we can break down to A comma B, right? So this is nothing but we can say what this is what we have break down to two part, right? We have break down to A and AB, A and B. So if you focus over A and AB, so A is nothing but we can say what? So we are 3, right? We are 1 comma 3, right? So we can say A is nothing but this one, right? You can see 1 1 is nothing but A only, right? And plus AB. So AB is nothing but you can say, if you getting it confusion, so let's break down to simple concept. So I just mean by hit here 1 comma 3 can be replaced like this as well, right? 1 of 3 is nothing but 1 of 1 plus 2 of 3. So if you combine this one, so you will get nothing but 1 plus 3, right? 1 and 3, right? You will get this only, right? So this is nothing but A, we have break down A B into A comma AB, right? But we can break down to two other way as well. We can break down AB into A comma B. Does that make sense, right? So what is that other way? That other way is nothing but either this way, or we can say 1 to 2 plus 2 to 3 comma 3. So this makes sense, right? So we can break down to two part, right? 1 comma 3, this cell can break down either calculate this part plus what either calculate 1 1 and 2 of 3, that is nothing but 2 of 3, this part, right? So this part can be calculated by this adding these two part, or 1 1 1 to this part. So we can say 1 to this part and 3 3. So this nothing but we can say this part, right? So this one. So we can say for calculating 1 comma this 1 comma 3, we either need to add this part and this part, or this part and this part, right? So we can say that, right? We can add this. So we have to take minimum one. We can add both. We can calculate this A B by using both of the things. So what we need to do, we need to just find a minimum one, right? So we'll say we need to find a minimum one, and we can place over here. I hope it makes sense, right? So that makes sense, right? So I have seen I have shown you that one of the way is nothing but doing this as well, right? So now let's see another way as well. So let's say you are having a three, this was only when you have a character more than two. If you want to find, you are want to find here. So this is nothing but 1 comma 2, right? DP of 1 and 2, right? So what I can do, I can say this is nothing but a, right? So this is A. So when you have a two character of length, when you have a string of two character, right? When you have substring of two character, then you don't need to do anything else. Just need to see the second character. So if both of the character same, so you are going to print 1. If both of the character different, means if you take an example of DP of 2 and 3, right? DP of 2 and 3. So you can see these are so character of 2 string, right? 2 length. This is a string of 2 length and it has a different character. So we are going to put 2 here. So if the string length is 2, then we are going to check if they are same. So you have to write here 1, otherwise you have to write here 2, right? So that makes sense. But if the string length is more than 2, then you are going to calculate. Then you are going to calculate for whole possibilities, right? So if string length is, we can say 1 to 6, so you are going to calculate 1 to 2 plus you can say 3 to 6, right? Or you can say 1 comma 1 2 to 6, then you can say 1 comma 2 and you can say 3 to 6, right? Then what you can say, you can say 1 comma 3 plus we can say 4 to 6, right? And then you can say 1 comma 4 plus 5 to 6, and the last you can do nothing but 1 comma 5. So let me scroll up. 1 of 5 plus 6 of 6, right? Just I want to show you, right? You can do that part as well. The last thing which I want to tell you here, that if you focus here, so for calculating the lower part, for calculating a 1 comma 3, we have seen that we need an upper part, right? So just let's quickly see that part as well, then we'll move to the implementation. So I want to just say here, for calculating a 1 comma 3, this is 1 comma 3, right? But we needed 1 comma 3, so we can say 1 comma 3. How we can calculate it? 1 comma 1 plus 2 comma 3 at this cell. So that means nothing but this one cell, right? So 1 comma 1 this cell, so this was 1, right? So this cell, and 1 comma 3, 2 comma 3, right? So this one is this cell, right? This is nothing but 2. So we can calculate like that as well, or we can calculate 1 comma 2 plus 3 comma 3 of 3, right? So we can calculate this cell and this cell, right? We can calculate by that as well. But see guys, for calculating the lower part 1 comma 3 cell, we need a top cell, right? We need this cell, right? We need this cell, right? So we'll not traverse from this, we can say in the increasing order of 5. We'll not traverse of in this way, we'll traverse from this way, right? We'll come from this bottom to top, right? Then only we are going to calculate this part, right? That means for calculating this part we need this part, right? So if we are moving to this direction, then only we can say, yeah, now you calculate this part, because we have already calculated this part. So we'll move from this bottom to top, right? I hope it makes sense. Fine. So we have seen all these things. Now let's try run this case for quickly. So guys, we have seen these are not going to play any role, so we are going to put 1 1 on each place, right? So now let's quickly try run this one, right? Fine. So what I mean by here guys, I'm going to start from here. So I'm going to say 4 and 5. So for this cell, what we can say, we can say 4 and 5, b and b correct are same, so we're going to put 1 only here, right? Fine. And here for 3 and 4, so for 3 and 4 character is of 2 length, right? So which is nothing but bb, so we are going to put 1 again here. Fine. And for 3 and 5, the character string is now 3 length. We can say BBB, triple B, right? So this is 3 length of character. So 3, 5, what we can do? We can say 3, 5, we can break down to 2 parts. We can say 3 or 4 plus, we can say not 3 or 4, 3, 3, and we can say 4 and 5, right? Or we can say 3, 3, 3, 4, and plus 5, 5. So we have to take minimum of these. So 3, 3 is nothing but we can say 1 plus 4, 5 plus 4, 5 is also 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, right? Or 3, 4, 3, 4 is nothing but what we can say, 3, 4 is nothing but we can say 1, right? 3, 4 is 1, and 1 plus 5, 5 is also 1. So we can say 2. Anyway, we are getting 2 only. So we are going to write here 2. But the logic come here. We are going to not write 2, we are going to write 1. Why? Because the end character and starting character is same. So if you focus here, 3 and 5, both characters same. So 3 and starting character is same. So we are going to decrease by 1. Why? Because we can place only 1 here. So I hope it makes sense. So just whenever we are getting a starting and end character same, so we have to decrease by 1, right? After calculating whole things. So we write 1. Now let's move to the next example, which is nothing but we can say 2 and 3. 2 and 3 we have already calculated, but still let's calculate it. So it's 2 character. 2 and 3 we are having a AB, but they are different. So we are going to write 2. But if they are same, then we will have to write 1, right? After that 2 and 4. 2 and 4, 3 length of character, that means nothing but we can say 2 and 2 plus 3 and 4, or we can write 2 and 3 plus 4 comma 4, right? So 2 and 3 is first of all let's see the first character. 2 and 2 is 1 plus 3 and 4. 3 and 4 is nothing but we can say 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, right? But the second case is nothing but 2 and 3. 2 and 3 is nothing but we can say 2 and 3 is nothing but 2 plus 4 and 4 is 1. So that is nothing but 3. So 3 is greater than 2. So we are not going to replace it. We will say 2 is the smaller one. So keep it 2 is there, right? So and you can also focus here. This is nothing but A, B, B. So here we need just two length of string. Why? You can see A, B, B. We can say, so first of all print triple B, and then you can replace A over there, right? Or you can say first of all print a sequence of A length of 1 length. After that print a sequence of B of 2 length. Then you can get in easily in 2 turn, right? So this is nothing but 2 length of it. Now let's calculate the, we can say 2 and 5. So which is nothing but a big one. But I hope you can calculate this one, right? So we'll keep calculating till the top of this, and after that once we calculated, we are going to return this part. So this is nothing but we can say plus our simple logic, right? So I can't explain much more here because it's going to take a long video, but I hope you understood the logic part, what we are going to actually do here. Now let's move to the implementation part, and let's implement in our 4 programming language: Python, C++, Java, and JavaScript, right? So I'm first of all with Python. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say fine. So first of all, we are going to create that matrix. So we need a we need a length. So we can say length of s. Then I'm going to say for first of all create a matrix. So I give a name one dp, and I'm going to place for I in range of, I can say simply I of I into n, and for underscore in range of what we can say n only, right? So this is nothing but this is going to create a matrix of 5 into 5 if n is 5, and place the default value 1, right? So now what we are going to do, we are going to say for I in range of n. But see guys, we are not going to traverse from 0 to n. We are going to traverse n minus 1 to 0, right? Why? We have already seen we need to calculate once we are calculating our cell, we need upper term, right, to calculate that particular cell. So okay, after that we're going to say fine. So we have seen we are traversing from top to bottom to top, right? But we don't need the last or this term, right? We need the next term only, right? So I hope you are getting this. We don't need this one. We need we are traversing from ahead of this, right? From I to the next term. So we can see, so for distance I am just using a for d in range of how much distance, in range of 1 to n minus I. So what is this? This is nothing but we can say it's gonna traverse from zero. If we have this one, so it's gonna traverse this next term, right? We are saying that first of all one distance, then second distance, then third distance. It will keep traversing like this, right? I hope it makes sense. So okay, now we are going to say our j is going to be nothing but I plus t, right? So if you'll focus here, if calculate this particular index, this column is nothing but was. So if this column is nothing but we can say I, which is one, this I and plus distance, right? So I hope it makes sense. So j is going to be d plus I. So I hope you understood this much case as well. So j is nothing but d plus I. So all right. So now we can say once we calculated all these things, we are going to check if distance is one. So if the sequence, we can say if the sequence, or we can say that substring is of length 2 only. So if that length is 2 only, then what we can say? We can say that character either should have 1 or 2, right? So we can say if we can say it's going to be 1 if s of I is equal to s of j. Otherwise, it's going to be 0. So simple thing, guys. Let me show you this case. So guys, initially, let me show you each and every case, right? So guys, initially we have this one, right? So I and I, right? So we are going to traverse all these cases, right? If you focus on this row, if I was 1, so we have seen if I was 1, so we are saying that from D gonna traverse 1 to till the 5, right? D gonna traverse for 1 to 1 2 3 4 till 4, right? And J is gonna be for each come. When D was 1, so J is gonna be 2. So you can see when D is 1, this is D, right? 1 3 4. So J is going to be 2. When D is 2, so D is 2. This means nothing but D plus I. 2 plus 1 is nothing but 3. So J is nothing but 3. We are calculating J like this. After that, once D is 1, that means the string length of string substring is nothing but 2 only. And for 2, we are going to check if both characters are same. So put 1. Otherwise, put 2. Right? Not 0. Put 2. Fine. And you can say continue this one. But if D is not 1, that means the length of substring is more than 2. So we are going to traverse for all this case, right? We have already seen. So for that, what we can do, we can say for k in range of from I to j. Simple thing, right? For k in range of I to j, you can say dp of I comma j is gonna be nothing but we can say minimum of dp of I and dp of j, right? And comma we can say dp of I of k. I have already shown you this case plus dp of k plus 1 to j, right? So we are going to do for all the possibilities. After that, we are going to put a minimum in this our this dp of I or j. So we have to put maximum value first of all initially, right? So for maximum, what we can say dp of I comma j, let me just put a maximum value which is nothing but let's say 1001. Why? Because the length of a string is not more than 100. So we can put this value as well, right? Fine. After that, at the end, what we have seen, if dp of I and we can say dp of j is equal to, we can say what if it is not, we can do simply this thing if character is same, right? If s of I is equal to s of j, that means decrement by 1, right? dp of I and dp of j minus equal to 1. Fine. At the end, what we can do, we can say return our that particular cell which we want 0 5 minus 1 cell, right? So we are going to return that particular cell. Now let's see whether it's working fine or no. And I hope guys it should work, right? Let's see that part. And you can see both the escape pass. So let's try to submit this code. It is a simple one, right? Just we are checking, we are making a simple matrix, and after that we are just moving from bottom to top. You can see it successfully got submitted as well. Now let's move to the C++ and let's quickly implement there as well. So we are saying if first of all let's calculate the length as dot length. After that we are going to say make a matrix or vector of vector int name I'm going to give dp and size is going to be n, and for each row there's going to be n column. So for vector of int n and default value I'm going to put 1. Fine. And now we are going to traverse from I is equal to n minus 1 to I greater than equal to 0 and I minus 1 is bottom to top. And we are not want to take this cell. We don't want to take this cell. So we want to take only the next cell. So we are going to use a deep distance. For in distance is 1 and distance is less than, we can say n minus I and distance plus plus. Right. I hope it makes sense. So we are traversing the next to it. Now we need to find a j. J is nothing but we can say j is going to be d plus I, distance plus I. That is nothing but our j is column. So now once we got all these things, now we are going to say if distance is 1, that means the length of our substring is 2. So we can say if it is the case, so dp of I comma j either could be 2 or 1. So 1, if s of I is equal to s of j, that means it is going to be 1. Otherwise it's going to be 2. Means if it is different, right? And we can say if this is the case, so you can continue this part. Fine. If it is not the case, so what you're going to do, you're going to say first of all put a maximum value in this particular cell initially. So put a maximum value is nothing but 1001 you can put. After that we are going to say for int k is equal to I, k less than we can say j. After that we can say k plus plus, right? So here what we are going to do, we are going to say dp of I and j is going to be nothing but equal to minimum of dp of I, let me put I and j. After that we can say comma dp of what we can say here, dp of I comma k plus 1, not k, and plus dp of k plus 1 of j, right? So this is nothing but simple thing which we were doing over here, right? So if length of 3, so we are saying that dp of I of j can be break down to two part, right? So we are breaking to two part and we are taking a minimum, right, out of these. So we can say fine. After that we can say, after this we are going to see if character is still same, if s of I is equal to s of j, character same, so you have to decrement by 1. So dp of I and j is going to be minus equal to 1. Fine. And then you can simply return your respective cell which you want to return. That is nothing but we can say dp of 0 or n minus 1, right? 0 and n minus 1. So we want to return this cell, so we will return this one. Now let's see whether this working final node. And I hope guys it should work, right? So you can see both the test case passed. So let's try to submit this code as well. It is a simple one, right? I know it's took a long time for logic part, but I hope you understood the logic part, right? Now let's move to the Java. And in the Java, what we are going to do, we are going to say first of all find a length. So int n is equal to s dot length. Let me write a length here. Fine. And after that, we are going to say, okay, let's create our dp array. So in dp, is going to new int of, we can say what we can give. We can give a length n. We can give length n. Fine. After that, we are going to say arrays dot fill. So for that, we can use a stream because it's a 2D array of this dp. For each, we can say row, and we can say arrays dot fill. Now we can fill this row, right? We can fill by default value 1. Once we fill default value 1 for all the cells in our dp array, then we are going to traverse from bottom to top. For int I is equal to n minus 1, I less than greater than equal to 0, I less than greater than equal to 0, let me add here, and I minus 1. Now we are going to say we don't want the previous cell, we want the next cell of it, right, from I. So we can say for int distance is equal to 1, distance should be less than I, distance should be less than n minus I, and distance plus 1. And we are seeing that if distance is 1, that means it's a length of 2 character. So we can, it's a string of 2 character, so we can see if both the string are same, both the character are same, so put on that cell 1, otherwise put cell 2. So we can say if our s of I, or we can say simply say if dp of I and j, we can use a conditional operation here, is going to be equal to what, it's going to be equal to what, we can simply say if s of I is equal to s of j. So that means you have to print 1, otherwise you have to print put 2, right? Once this is done, we are going to continue. Fine. Otherwise, if the d is not 1, that means a string length is more than 2. So we're going to say find all the possibilities and take minimum of them, right? So we can say break down to all parts and take minimum out of these. So for I is equal to, not I, k is equal to I, k less than n, j, and k plus plus. And we're going to say dp of I and j is going to be nothing but math root mean. Fine. And dp of I and j, that means I, what is doing I and j. All right. So fine. We can say comma dp of I k plus dp of I, and let me write here I, not I, we can say k plus 1 and j, right? So this is nothing but breakdown of that particular substring, right? Before that, we have to put a maximum, put maximum correct number on that particular cell, right? That only we can find minimum one. So we can say dp of I of j is going to be nothing but maximum is 1001. Fine. Once this is done, then what we are going to do, we are going to say if s of I is equal to s of j, means correct is same, right? And length is not more than net length is not equal to 2 or less than 2, right? So we can say decrement by 1. So dp of I and j minus equal to 1. I hope it makes sense, right? So after that, what we are going to do, we are going to say return our respective set dp of I and j, and not j, I have written dp of 0, and we can say n minus 1, right? Now let's see whether it's working fine or no, and I hope guys it should also work fine. Let's see. And we got an error. Why? Because okay, so the issue is nothing but we don't have this s of I, we have caret, right? In Java we have s dot caret of j, and let me write here caret of j, right? Fine. So we are going to copy this part as well, and we are going to put here as well. Fine. Now let's see whether this is working fine or not. I hope it should work now, right? So let's see. Now we got one more error, that is nothing but s of caret I of j is nothing but 1 and 2. So it's saying that I cannot find a symbol dp of I and j. Well, let's say we haven't calculated a j here. In j is nothing but d of d plus I, right? D plus I. Fine. Now let's see. And you can see both the test case passed. So let's try to submit this code, and it's gonna submit as well, right? I hope it will submit. So you can see guys, it successfully got submitted. Now let's move to the last programming language, which is nothing but JavaScript. And in the JavaScript, what we are going to do, we are going to say first of all calculate the length. Length is going to be s dot length, and we can say fine. Let's create an array. And for array, what we can do, so either you can create an array of like const, we can say const, and we can say dp is new array, right? You can do like this, and here we can say here as well we can make an array. So we can say array. So we'll see in the code part. First of all, let's see if I create an array, and here array of n, and we can pass here. If we do like this, arrays dot fill one, right? I don't know whether it's fine or not. We'll see it later part, but fine. It's for now. It's cool, and we'll see after that once we create an array. So what we are going to do, we are going to say traverse from bottom to top. Let I is equal to n minus one, I greater than equal to 0, I we can say minus minus, right? And here we can say for let j is not distance is equal to 1, and distance should be less than n minus I, and distance plus plus, and j is going to be nothing but we can say let j is nothing but distance plus I, right? Now we are going to say if distance is 1, so what we are going to do, we are going to say if distance is 1, that means a string length is more no, is equal to 2 character, right? If it is the case, so what we are going to do, we are going to say dp of I and j is nothing but equal to if s of I is equal to s of j, then you have to put 1, otherwise you have to put 0, right? Not 0, 2, right? Fine. And after that you can continue this. Otherwise, if it is not the case, if t is not equal to 1, that means it's more than 1, right? If it is more than 1, then we are gonna take all the possibilities and take a minimum one. So we can say dp of I and j is going to be nothing but we can say initially puts a bigger value. Let's put this one, and after that we are going to say let k is equal to I, k less than j, and k plus plus, right? Then what we are going to do, we are going to say fine if it is the case. So dp of I and j is nothing but equal to math dot minimum dp of I and dp of j, right? Comma dp of I and k plus dp of k plus 1, dp of k plus 1, and here we can say j, right? And after that, once we got this value, then we are going to, we are going to say if character is s of I is equal to s of j, both are same, if character are same, so what you can do, you can simply say if they are same, decrement by 1, right? dp of I and j minus equal to 1. Fine. And then what you can do, you can simply say after this for loop, so you can simply return your respective location. So dp of 0 and n minus 1. Now first of all, let's see whether this line is cool or not, right? So let's see that part. Just give me a second, guys. We got an error. Just the reason is, guys, let me see my cheat sheet then. I don't have a good knowledge of JavaScript, but let me see. Just give me a second. New array. Okay, so we have to use a from, right? We can do like this array dot from, and we can make a 2D array. How? Let's see that part if it's running or not. Still, I'm getting an error, right? So array dot from array. So I hope if you're getting this right in the comment section, what mistake I'm doing here. So we can use a new. Not new, so we can say I think we need to see the cheat sheet then. Let's see this now. And I have used arrays. I don't know why I've used an array. I have to use array. Let's see. Array dot from. Okay. I don't know why I have a really very bad knowledge in JavaScript. Right? You can see both the REST pass finally. So we have seen, yeah, we have seen this line from somewhere, but let's see whether it's getting submitted or not. I have to learn a JavaScript in detail. Finally, you can see, guys, it's successfully got submitted. So we have done the implementation with Python, C++, Java, and JavaScript. I hope you understood the implementation part, and you have understood the logic part, which is the main part. If you have any kind of doubt in the problem understanding, logic, and implementation part, you can write in the comment section. I'm always there to help you. And if you learn something new in this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe my channel. Meet you in the next video.